The following is a hockey podcast out of Vancouver and Surrey, British Columbia. It'll only consist of a lot of puck talk and even more BS, or in actual words, banter and satire. Enjoy, and as always, go Canucks go.
You know what, Kyle? If Nikita Zadorov scores tonight for the Vancouver Canucks, I'm telling my wife to call me Big Zaddy.
Whoa.
You're Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, welcome to another episode of Locked On Canucks. My name is Trevor Beggs, co-host of Locked On Canucks, and also a Canucks writer currently with Daily Hive Vancouver. Before we dive into this episode, we got to thank you for tuning into Locked On Canucks, because guess what? It is your Canucks every damn day. Even when I'm not here, Kyle's got your back. But again, if you like what we're doing, make sure you go subscribe or follow us for free on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. Also, got to let you know today's episode is brought to you by Indeed. There's no I in team. There's one in Indeed. And that's the hiring platform you need to build your. Start hiring now with a $75 sponsored job credit to upgrade your job post at Indeed.com/lockedon. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed. Man, oh man, the Canucks, they look good in game one, but what can we expect in game two? Let's break it down for you in this episode of Locked On Canucks. I mean, Kyle Bowen, he's been doing the most for you guys, recording from the Don't Doze Art Lab. I'm recording from a basement in Calgary, Alberta. Somehow, some way, figuring it out. Anyways, let me introduce my co-host. Got the guns, Kyle Bowen. What's going on, brother?
Have to bring the guns out, you know? The Oilers. Game 2. It's a big one. Straight up, it's a big one. And you know what? More notably speaking, Trevor, and it's good to see you again, it's a new game. The Canucks fans and the Canucks players obviously have to take this one game at a time approach, and I feel as if they're going to do that. I think Rick Tocchet's crew is wired that way, and they understand the task at hand, and I think they're chomping at the bit to complete this mission, and that's embarrass the Edmonton Oilers. I think there's an opportunity here. Me and Trevor will break it down because we saw some things in game one, and Trevor Beggs has seen some things all season long with the Edmonton Oilers that is telling us that the Canucks just match up perfectly to kick some ass, kick some Oilers ass, for real. It's just the truth. Anyways, Kyle Bound, Trevor Beggs at the Don't Doze Art Lab in Alberta doing this. A one love to the Don't Doze Art Lab for giving us a space to produce this show. They really do care about the West Coast bias. Again, hit the subscribe button and the like button, and also join the Discord, okay? A lot of conversations going on in the Discord. Link in the bio, okay? And as Zarfi is saying, man, the titties will be out by 8 a.m. Hey, I know. I'm not wearing a lot of clothes right now. It's hot now, man. Yo, I can't believe it's happening right now. It's hot out here. It's hot. The sun is shining. It's warm outside. It's May the 10th. And another huge game being played at Rogers Arena. A spectacle, okay? I can't wait for it. And I'm curious to see what Trevor Beggs, a person who just watched the game last night, he had to watch it in the future, right? Game one. I wonder what you're thinking about when it comes to what you'll see from both these teams in game two.
Yeah, we'll talk about my viewing experience later on. Not an experience I necessarily enjoy, but you got to do what you can on vacation. Look, in game one, Kyle, I think one of the big keys we talked about was that if JT Miller can win his matchup against McDavid, it's going to open things up for the rest of the Canucks. And I think that's exactly what we saw in game one. So Miller played really well against the McDavid line, controlled possession. And then you had the Lindholm line just go off on Nurse and Ceci. And they were mainly playing against that Draisaitl, Kane, Nugent Hopkins line, although that was a bit all over the place. And then you had Pettersson having a soft matchup against kind of Ryan McLeod, who was a checking center, but going against the Ryan McLeod line, and then the pairing with Brett Kulak and Vincent Desharnais. Every one of those Canucks lines had a good game. I mean, the fourth line didn't have a great game, but that kind of gets lost in the shuffle in terms of how good the top three lines of the Canucks were against the Edmonton Oilers. So, I mean, heading into game two, look, you expect the Oilers to be better, but I'm gonna say my feelings about the Oilers right now, because I didn't want to say this necessarily before the series started and put that out in the atmosphere. But look, I've felt from the get-go of the season, and it's why, the Oilers are a betting favorite, that the Oilers got to figure it out one day, that, McDavid and Draisaitl are in their prime. Now might be the year where they win the cup. I felt that way for a lot of the season. I even kind of felt that way heading into the series. But an even bigger part of me has said, there's no way this team, the Edmonton Oilers that is winning a Stanley Cup with that goaltender and that defense.
Yeah, no, I hear it too, man. And Again, we've played the Oilers 5 times this season. We've kicked their ass a couple of times. And if you just want to bring it back to game one and you look at the scoreboard, you don't necessarily see a team that kicked the Oilers' ass, right? The score is 5-4. It's a 1-goal game, a playoff game, blah, blah, blah. But there's holes in that defense. And there's a lot of all-stars on the Vancouver Canucks. And a way they can exploit the Oilers is for all those players, the Garlands, the Petterssons, the Millers, the Lindholms, the et ceteras, the Bessers, to play at the top of the game. And let's say they do that. Dude, down the middle, who matches up against the Canucks? Not the Oilers. And then the Canucks become a 3-line team again if Pettersson and Lindholm wake up. And man, oh man, I got to bring this guy up. Because not only is this guy playing for a new contract, I feel as if he's playing to get his game back and put the hockey world on notice. Lindholm came out to play in game one, and I don't see that stopping. Yeah. And if that is the case, again, it's time to believe deeply in the success of the 2024 Vancouver Canucks. I know it's a lack of experience this team has, this city has when it comes to the playoffs, but when is it going to get this much better for your Canucks if they literally have 3 number 1 centers? Maybe you can say Elias Lindholm is a number 1B center on one team. Because then you become a 3-line juggernaut. And look at the depth on the Oilers. Look at their defense. Look at Stuart Skinner. They're not going to be able to stop that. We're not facing the Nashville Predators, okay? If you look at the Nashville Predators and their decor and just their philosophy in general when it comes to how they play defense, way deeper than the Canucks. If you go to the Oilers, once you get past Ekholm and Bouchard or whatever, Ceci and Nurse don't strike fear in anyone's eyes. Straight up. They don't. They might have the cachet to them based on their pedigree in the draft, based on their size. But, bro, they don't got it. They really don't got it. And, again, I feel as if there's a 4% chance that the Canucks become a 3-line team today offensively and exploit the beep out of the Oilers to kick some ass tonight at Rogers Arena.
Let's go, buddy. That's what I like to hear. And I love that you brought up Lindholm as well, because he was obviously a player that stood out to everyone. That line had a fantastic night. Lindholm, Joshua, and Garland all scoring goals. But what I really liked about Lindholm was the physicality.
Damn.
I mean, every time this guy had a chance to throw a hit, he was throwing a hit. I watched that Lindholm game, and I felt like he was taking out all his frustrations from that Flames Oilers series from a couple of years ago. And hopefully he's got more left in the tank, because this is still going to be a pretty long series ahead, I think. But yeah, Lindholm to me might have been the Canucks' best player on the ice in game one. Yeah,
he was. And bro, you know what? I watched the highlight, not from game one of round 2, but game 1 of round 1. And if you look at the play he made on Joshua's goal behind the net, where he crushed that defender and jarred the puck loose, I feel as if we saw that type of Lindholm all game in round 2. And again, we're talking about a guy who had a career low, pretty much, kind of, sort of, with 44 points in like 75 plus games or whatever he played, right? It's just a bad season for this guy. He knows what's on the line for him. And I keep bringing up the money thing. I know I shouldn't, because it's way deeper than that. This guy's a competitive guy, but I feel as if this guy's on a mission to put some respect on his name again. And if that's the case and he pulls through, again, the Canucks are way deeper than the Oilers. Now, again, we're boasting a lot. We understand the task at hand. We know the Canucks have to, forget about game 1 because they are facing McDavid and Draisaitl, 2 of the best players in the world. They could win games on their own. We also have a 3rd-string goaltender, blah, blah, blah. But man, oh man, it's hard not to look at this matchup and not only feel cocky and confident and a little arrogant, but then also look at their reality, and that's Draisaitl. This guy didn't practice yesterday. This guy's bruised up just a bit. Bro, that's a huge deal for the Oilers. Not for the obvious reasons because it's Draisaitl, but man, you look at that roster and it's like if one of those guys go down, dude, this is I don't want to say an easy team to beat, but the task becomes way easier. Considering what I just said about our forward group, and again, Draisaitl not practicing, he's probably going to play because he's one of the toughest players in hockey. But man, oh man, it's looking good for us, man. Again, I know, one game at a time, but something is on the horizon tonight, and I feel as if the Canucks are going to put the league on notice tonight.
Well, I like the energy, and I'm glad you brought up Draisaitl because, that's it's part of this Lindholm conversation. That's something I wanted to bring up too, right? That Leon Draisaitl, again, mainly went up against the Lindholm line in game 1. Those were their the most common matchup pairings. And again, Lindholm's line easily won that matchup. But what did we talk about before the series, Kyle? What did I say? What did I say? That Draisaitl, Kane, Nugent Hopkins line has not been good at even strength, and especially not in round 1. I know they could do their damage on the power play. And look, even in that power play where they scored, I'm less than 2 minutes into the game or less than 3 minutes into the game, I felt like the Canucks actually had a pretty good kill. And it was just at the very end, the Oilers got their chance and scored. So again, you can't be taking penalties against this Oilers team and expect to succeed. But at even strength, again, Lindholm and that line dominated Draisaitl's line. And with him being banged up, again, I don't want to get too cocky as a Canucks fan because this Oilers team is still dangerous. They can still score.
I know.
But, I mean, that's a huge bonus for the Canucks.
Again, I think what you and I are both doing, it's not even just about the result that what happened in game one. I'm talking about the style of play and how we fit against the Oilers when competing against them. And I just see holes that the Canucks can take advantages of. Because, again, I know it's hard to believe because the Canucks just got here and they lack experience. But when their players are going at the top of their game, especially their forward group, and then you have a guy like Nikita Zadorov putting himself on another pedestal, right? Playing like a top 2 defenseman. He's been our best defenseman all playoffs. You start looking at the facts, and the fact is this, man. The Canucks are kind of stacked. They're kind of stacked. It's just the truth. Like, they'd be, in metaphorically speaking, they have the ability to be the best team in those NHL video games. Just the truth. Again, if Lindholm and Pettersson find their game and Garland continues to play like that and Joshua continues to play like that, dude, this team it's a dangerous team. But again, a lot of work to do. Maybe we'll talk more about the game in segment number 2 and maybe be a little bit more skeptic towards the Canucks and just try to be more accountable and more reasonable and more constructive. But we'll see where this conversation goes. Beggsy, who you want to shout out in segment, I guess advertisement break number 1. And what do you want to talk about after the break? We didn't really talk about this.
Yeah, no, I think the 2 main things I want to talk to you about after the break are that Connor McDavid versus JT Miller matchup, first and foremost. And the second thing I want to talk about is the goaltending. Who should start? I think we have an idea of who's going to start for the Canucks, but who should start after game 1? Maybe touch a bit on the Oilers goaltending and Stuart Skinner and his season as well. But before we do that, let's shout out our friends over at Policygenius. All right. Policygenius, they are the country's leading online insurance marketplace. They save you time and money so you can provide your family with a financial safety net starting today. With Policygenius, you can find life insurance policies that start at just $292 per year for $1 million of coverage. Some options offer same-day approval and avoid unnecessary medical exams. You know what that means. No finger up the you-know-what when you use Policygenius.
Whoa.
Policygenius helps you compare your options from top companies, and their team of licensed experts is on hand to help talk you through it. Talk to a team of award-winning agents who will walk you through the process step by step. Your work life insurance policy, it may not cover you enough and have enough protection for your family's needs, okay? That's why, with Policygenius, they give you unbiased advice from a licensed expert support team to get you the coverage you need, okay? It's like, it's the don't be silly, wrap your willy of insurance companies. These guys, they can do it all. They have no incentive to recommend one insurer over the other, so you can trust their guidance. And they got thousands of 5-star reviews on Google and Trustpilot from customers who found the best fit for their needs. Check life insurance off your to-do list in no time with Policygenius. Head to policygenius.com/lockedonnNHL or click the link in the description below to get your free life insurance quotes and see how much you can save. That's policygenius.com/lockedonnNHL.
People, we back doing this, and that's talking about your Vancouver Canucks and that matchup tonight at Rogers Arena, game 2 in Vancouver against the Edmonton Oilers, a team that, again, a lot of people favorited, right? 99% of the hockey world did. And look at Trevor and I. After one win, we are cocky. And look at the captain of the program, okay? Popeye Sailor leaving this comment. And again, he's one of the leaders of the program. Join the Discord again, link in the bio. And he's telling us there's no reason to get cocky, okay? They have to win the cup to get cocky. And there's a lot of truth to that. Trevor, there's a lot of arrogance coming out of you and I today. I didn't expect this. But again, as a hockey fan, as a hockey viewer, I don't know how much West Coast bias I'm bringing into the conversation today. I'm just, again, seeing what we've done against the Oilers this season and just putting it on record that it's more than possible for the Canucks to really kick ass in this series. I'm more comfortable beating the Oilers than I am the Nashville Predators. And that's as cocky as it gets, man.
Yeah, I won't quite go that far. But here's the thing, and you kind of touched on it in the first segment, right? I feel like the Nashville Predators and the Oilers actually in the regular season played similar games. They're both fairly high event teams who had a lot of chances. The Oilers did a better job of allowing chances against. The Nashville Predators, though, really tightened it up in round one. I almost felt to me like the Nashville Predators were playing more of the Vancouver Canucks style of defense, right?
Mhm.
In terms of not allowing any shots on the net, blocking like crazy, trying to be a low event team. Whereas again, this Edmonton Oilers team, especially in the first game, looked like they were happy doing the offensive thing the Canucks do, where they just are opportunistic, don't get a lot of shots, and then kind of sit back on the lead, and it came back to bite them in the ass. Now, again, Kyle, I'm not saying the Canucks are going to sweep the series. I'm confident, but I still think this is going to be a long series. And I think one of the best things for Canucks fans in the first game was JT Miller not only went against Connor McDavid and did well. He was the better of the two players on the ice in that game. Like, I don't have many games where I go, I have not noticed McDavid a lot tonight. I did not notice McDavid a lot in game one.
Yeah, and you know what? That's also a scary thing too, because again, he's such a competitive dude, and he wants to
Yeah.
be the best, and he's coming out firing tonight. And I wonder how Artur Shilovs is going to cope with that, because again, the Oilers are going to be seeing red. They don't want to go down 2-0. They, again, arguably have two of the best players in the generation. Look at their playoff numbers. These guys show out to play. It's going to be a tough game. But I think if Artur Shilovs is able to have a strong period, like period number 1, where he allows 0 goals, this seed of doubt that everyone is starting to talk about when it comes to Vancouver planting it in the Oilers and everything Oilers may start sprouting, okay? Because it's, how do I say that? This first period for the Oilers is so important, and Sheloff just has to have his game. Now, I want to bring that up because I know you called me this morning and you did bring up Casey DeSmith. You talked about how maybe he should be getting the start. Like, where are you with this whole ordeal in net with the Vancouver Canucks?
Yeah, I mean, for me, look, I think Artur Shilovs, it seems like the Canucks clearly want to play the guy. But Casey Smith was really good against the Oilers in the regular season and has been good against the Oilers in the regular season in the past. So, I mean, for me, I wouldn't be I don't know if I'd change a goalie after a win. I think you give Shilovs the start, but I think Casey Smith, the sea's definitely getting warmer for Shilovs, and depending on how he does tonight, right?
Yeah.
And, DeSmith has said that he likes playing on the road more, and maybe that quote got too much airplay. But yeah, for me, again, that fourth goal wasn't great. I thought Shilovs, again, he wasn't tested a lot, so that environment's tough. It's kind of like Casey Smith game 2 against the Predators, very similar script. So I just think the seat's a little bit warmer on Shilovs. And again, I wouldn't be shy necessarily about putting DeSmith in. Although if they're going to put him in a game too, let's calm down in the let's go Casey chance for a little until maybe later on in the game. Oh, we lost Kyle. He's gone. I think, maybe good thing Kyle's not playing goalie for the Vancouver Canucks tonight. But, Shilovs, again, I've talked about the maturity beyond his years. I don't think this moment's too big for him. And again, I almost wish he did get tested a bit more in game 1. And, I know the shots in the first period, they only had about 10 shots there. And, Shilovs had one good save. I'm trying to remember who was in front, but it felt like really the only scoring chance he really stopped. I do kind of wish Shilovs got to feel the puck a bit more. But again, resiliency on the Canucks part too, and they did this with DeSmith and net too, helping out your goaltender, coming back in a game, turning it on. And of course, in the playoffs, it's a different beast. But, man, oh man, I couldn't believe it when the Canucks were roaring back in the third that the Oilers had their second shot with of the period with the net empty. I think their first shot of the period was 16 minutes into the third. So I mean,
they went 22 minutes without a shot. They went 22 minutes without a shot on net. And sorry to cut you off there. You're cutting out a bit for me, but one thing that I noticed in Shilov's game that wasn't there in the Nashville series were pucks bouncing off of him, right? Even those 2 shots that the Oilers took in that period, the rebounders were spouting out. And I think Ian Clark is going to look at that and maybe win or lose, look at that specific trait of Shilov's game going into game 3, and then they may make a change, okay? And I'll put this on record again. If the Canucks win tonight, I would not be surprised if Casey DeSmith plays game 3. Straight up. I wouldn't. Because the pressure, the loudness, just throwing that curveball in game 3 may throw the Oilers off a bit, and also may have the Canucks adjust to playing a really defensive, block first attitude in period number 1 of game 3. Now, again, I'm getting ahead of myself, but I could see that strategy kind of come to the fold. Now, you also brought up this whole thing about that quote, right, from Casey DeSmith, right? Oh, I'd much rather play road games. Like, I like being the underdog. Dude, that matters. I'm sorry. You don't want your starter saying that and putting that out in the universe. You know what type of energy that is? That's backup energy. It's just the truth. That's bro, and that's a big reason why Shelov's is starting. Like, he's going to get the start today, and I'm confident in him. But again, I would not be surprised that if they win or lose tonight, if they go to Casey DeSmith in game 3. And I know that sounds crazy, but look at his stats in that building this season. Pretty damn incredible.
Yeah, no, I agree. Again, DeSmith has been great. I like your mentality there, but let's focus on that after we see what happens.
Yeah, I know.
In
My
game
bad.
two.
My bad. I'm
No,
getting ahead of myself.
good,
You can slap me. You can slap me. You can slap me. The chest chair's out.
Come on.
Look, I'm
Don't
getting
get
ahead of
cocky, man.
myself.
Okay, get a little cocky. It's okay, man. It's
Look-
okay.
Look at what Popeye said too, right? I said it earlier. You know, the tank tops are out for us. I said, yo, it's hot outside. And look at Popeye saying hot? Question mark? LMFAO? Bro, yesterday was 23 degrees in Vancouver. If that's
my
not hot,
my buddy.
come on.
So I'm staying with friends in Calgary right now, and my buddy, he works in Vancouver 4 days a week, flies back to Calgary for 3. He told me it was 26 in Vancouver yesterday. I was like, holy
Dude,
heck,
come
man.
on, the sun's
Now, I
shining,
woke up
man.
from camping. I woke up from camping yesterday in Glacier National Park, not knowing what happened to the Canucks game. It was 0 degrees, man. And here I am. It's like, yeah, it's going to be pushing like mid 20s today in Calgary here too. So the temperature's hot, and I think the Oilers should be feeling some heat, and the Canucks should be feeling good about themselves. Hey, life is good, man. Life is good if you're a fan of the Vancouver Canucks. Playoff hockey on a Friday in the heat. Let's go, baby. Locked on Canucks. Your Canucks every day.
Big facts. In segment number 3, we're going to read a bunch of comments. Beggsy's got to get out of here quickly because he's got to go to the zoo, man. Again, the second best father in the world, picking his family over the Canucks, and rightfully so. I've said this on the program many times, even though that decision is a little confusing because you first fell in love with the Canucks. I'm proud of the father you are, man. You're a great father, man.
I appreciate that, buddy. And hey, let's happy Friday to everyone listening here on Locked On Canucks, your Canucks every day. Let's wrap up the show. On the other side, I'll talk about my viewing experience from game 1, get to some comments, and maybe we'll talk about a player to watch in game 2. Before we do that, let's shout out our friends over at Indeed. You know what? There is no I in team, but there is one in Indeed. And that's the hiring platform you need to build yours. When you're hiring, you need Indeed. Indeed is the hiring platform where you can attract, interview, and hire all in one place. Instead of spending hours on multiple job sites searching for candidates with the right skills, Indeed is a powerful hiring platform that can help you do it all. We streamline hiring with powerful tools that find you matched candidates. With Instant Match, over 80% of employers get quality candidates whose resume on Indeed matches their job description the moment they sponsor a job, according to Indeed data. One of the things I love about Indeed is that they are fast. And you know what that means? They get things done quickly, okay? No innuendos here, okay? No innuendos here. Locked On Canucks, no innuendos from Beggsy. Again, on Indeed, they are the only job site where you play for applications that meet your must-have requirements. Join more than 3 million businesses worldwide that use Indeed to hire great talent fast. Make sure you start hiring now with a $75 sponsored job credit to upgrade your job post at Indeed.com/lockedon. Offer good for a limited time. Claim your $75 credit now at Indeed.com/lockedon. Indeed.com/lockedon. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed.
Man, we're going to have a lot of fun tonight in Vancouver, all my real fans.
People, we back doing this, and that's talking about your Vancouver Canucks. Beggsy Bowman doing their thing. Again, round of applause for Beggsy and his father, his fatherhood, Again, you're a great dad, man. You're inspiring me, man. When I become a father in 7 years or in 8 years or 9 years or 5 years, I'm definitely going to be reading the book you write about fatherhood. Like, straight up. You're just a G, bro. You're just a G. Now, again, I got to ask you this before we talk more about hockey. I guess it's a 2-part question, but it's important, okay? Again, first family road trip. The family's getting bigger. How you holding up? Who's doing more work? Your wife or you? Be honest, okay? Because I feel as if you're the type of guy who wakes up at 9:30 in the morning and is cracking a beer. You just seem like that type of guy. How's that going? And also, break down your experience watching game 1 in the future. Because, again, you couldn't watch it live. You had to watch it via Sportsnet Plus when you got some Wi-Fi. Break it all down for us.
Yeah, I mean, quickly on the trip. I mean, it's I'm so happy to be out here hitting the road. And yesterday, even though I was 24 hours behind the game, it was like honestly one of the best drives I've done, driving through Glacier National Park in Montana, stopped at that Waterton Lakes National Park in Alberta, and then came to our friend's place in Calgary. So it's been fantastic. I think I'm doing just as much work as my wife, to be honest. But we're both, it's a lot of work, man.
Buddy,
It's a lot of work.
the door better
lot
be
of work.
shut. The door better
Divide
be
it,
shut.
divide and conquer. Divide and conquer. It's how you got to do it, man. Tonight, let me tell you about my viewing experience tonight quickly. So tonight, me and my buddy, we got our two wifeys a hotel room in downtown Calgary so they could spend the night
What?
away from the kids. So it's two dads, 4 kids tonight while trying to watch the Canucks game. While I got to do post game for Daily Hive, I'm doing the most on vacation, man. Let's go. In terms of my game one viewing experience, unfortunately, I saw a spoiler trying to log into my Sportsnet Plus account, so I kind of knew what happened, which really bummed me out. But in general, so it kind of took away from the fact that I kind of knew the Canucks were going to come back. But then again, it was an awesome game to watch, and man, oh man, I'm excited to watch live in real time tonight. I missed that. I feel like I was kind of robbed from that watching game one, just because I did see a little bit of a spoiler. So it is what it is.
Yeah, well, that's what happens when you choose your family over the Canucks, man. It's just the truth, man. Things happen. Anyways, let's get to the comments and again, tee up this game even more that's coming up against the Vancouver Canucks. As Amphimous is saying, tonight is going to be fun. And as Gigatronic is saying, a dude who also went to game one, who spent like $800 to get there. Again, money well spent. Gigatronic, let us know about your experience. He's also saying Ian Cole is going to lay down a big hit. Again, somehow, some way, the Vancouver Canucks came back from a 4-1 deficit against the mighty Edmonton Oilers, a team that's only been past the second round once, but they're so mighty. And Ian Cole was playing for the Oilers, which is crazy. I've never seen that before. That's something else. What do you expect from Ian Cole tonight?
I hope his D partner can rub off on him a bit, because it was funny how Nikita Zadorov was still looking like one of the best players on the ice, and Ian Cole had the night that he had. I just feel like Ian Cole got away from his game. He was trying to do too much in game one. He was pinching a lot, which is very unlike him. I don't know what, man, if he was out partying the night before or what was going on with Ian Cole, but he did not look like himself. Usually he's a guy that you don't really notice, and that's a good thing. And you notice him a lot in game one for all the wrong reasons, right? So
I think taking that penalty right away knocked him off his game. He just took that too personal, and he felt he let the team down, and it carried on throughout the whole game. And another thing that did happen was after he took that penalty, go back to the Sportsnet Plus and review the game. Bro, I have never seen Rick Tocchet that mad at a player. The way he was giving Ian Cole a stare down, dude, that hurt me. I was scared. It felt as if my dad was looking at me. You know what I'm saying? Like, disappointed in me. It was something else. Now, speaking of Rick Tocchet, before we get to more comments, I want to know what you have to say about his comments post game about his celebration. Again, Rick Tocchet not celebrating a lot, very stoic, especially in a game one victory, a round two victory. This guy's won Stanley Cups. He knows that the journey is long, and this is not the time to celebrate. But there he was celebrating after game one against the Oilers, and he regretted it afterwards, man. He did. He let the cat out of the bag, how excited he was. He didn't want to show the whole league that this game mattered to him because, again, it was only round two, game one. And, I just want to know, like, how do you feel about, A, his celebration? I don't know if you've seen the video, and B, his mindset about regretting celebrating after game one.
I mean, I think his comments are really based in the fact that he doesn't want the Canucks to get ahead of himself, and it's one of those you practice what you preach things, right? It's kind of hard to say like don't get too cocky, don't get ahead of yourselves, so then you're out there celebrating. But it's an emotional game. It was a crazy comeback, right? So I think Tocchet and the Canucks are a lot of bit of grace to celebrate and enjoy the win, right? Again, don't enjoy really past that night because less than 48 hours later you're playing game two. And if you do get cocky, if the Canucks are going to this game cocky, they're going to lose, right? So you got to be confident but not cocky, and I think that's the balance that Tocchet wants his team to strike, right? But like for the way they came back in that game, and again, it wasn't really like the other comebacks in this series where the Canucks were outplayed and still found a way to win. The Canucks were easily the better team in game one. They deserved that game. So I think that made the comeback feel even more sweet. It wasn't like, oh my God, we came back. What just happened? It was they grinded, they worked, they were by far the better team, and they came back and won. So I think this is probably the comeback of the playoffs so far, and in a postseason where the Canucks have had a couple.
Dude, half their wins have been memorable. Half their wins are like top 20 Canucks playoff victories of all time.
Yeah.
Am I cutting out again just a bit? I don't know what's going on with my system. What was I going to say here? We'll just get to a comment. I forgot my point. Look at this comment from Callum, okay? I love listening to the Coilers trying to downplay the magnitude of the ass kicking the Canucks served them in the last game, okay? Straight up. I don't know if you heard the post-game comments from the Oilers. I know you're missing some Wi-Fi, but there was definitely some weird things going on with the way the Oilers were talking about that meltdown. And then we had this comment from Chris Dormant saying that there's no way that the Canucks are going to lose to that sorry goalkeeper. And speaking of the comments that the Oilers made after that explosion, right? Stuart Skinner had the audacity to say that individually speaking, he thought he played a good game going into the third period, when it was pretty evident all game long that this guy was bobbling the puck, this guy was going to be inconsistent, that the Canucks, all they had to do was put some shots on net and something was going to squeeze by. He took that dumb penalty behind the net. He also let in a goal. He also scored on himself prior to the third period, yet this guy had the audacity again to drop that comment. And that just shows me a lack of self-awareness, man. And you want to talk about Canucks fans being cocky? Bro, I've never seen a team more cocky after losing a 4-1 win, okay? Cocky sometimes connects with delusion, and as Trevor's alluded to all episode long, dude, the Canucks were obviously the better team the whole game, but the Oilers did not want to acknowledge that. And I think, again, if Sheloff can hold down the fort in period number 1, it's going to open up the door for the Canucks to really blow the roof off at Rogers Arena, because the Oilers, not only do they not scare me, they're just not self-aware of the team that they're playing. The Canucks are not the Kings. I know we had trouble beating the Kings, but the Canucks are not the Kings. A lot more firepower here. And if you're going to be that I would say not just cocky, but you just lack that much awareness, you're going to leave a lot of room for the Canucks players to do some damage, because you're not taking them seriously.
And here's the Kyle, you make a ton of great points there. And here's one of the things I haven't liked about the Oilers for a long time is that they seem to not be able to put blame on themselves. They seem to put blame elsewhere. Like, look at that 8-1 thumping of the when the Canucks won in the regular season or in the first game. Connor McDavid was like complaining and bitching about how like he didn't like how the team changed goaltenders or whatever, even though there was an injury we learned after the fact. But again, it's that like not like we were bad, we sucked, we need to be better. It's blaming the opposition, blaming something else. And with the Edmonton Oilers, I don't know what it is with their goaltending, but with Jack Campbell and Stuart Skinner, neither of them seem to be mentally strong, right? And this is a position where you need to be mentally strong between the ears. You have Jack Campbell, who's overly hard on himself, and now he's in the minors. You have Stuart Skinner, who doesn't want to take blame, even though he was bad. That is not a position where you can be, not mentally strong. And that's why I like what the Canucks have in net and Shelov's right now. Again, this guy I think's got maturity beyond his years. He's 23 going on 53, And again, even though he's only a guy with 13 NHL games between playoffs and the regular season, I like what's between the ears. And again, that's this Canucks team in general. I think when they played bad, you've heard them be straight up and say that we played bad, we need to be better. I haven't heard that as much from the Oilers so far. And again, that's a reason why I like the Canucks kind of heading into this game and in this series.
One left to the Vancouver Canucks, one left to Artur Sheloff. I'm having trouble articulating my thoughts about what Sheloff has to do in period number 1, but again, it's so vital for the Canucks to get out of the first period without allowing a goal against, because Trevor, again, we've been cocky all episode. McDavid and Draisaitl, that power play, something's going to give, right? Eventually. But if Sheloff is on top of his game, and more notably just securing rebounds, I think we'll be fine. Anyways, Beggsy, do your thing. Thanks for, spending time with us today. I know you got a really busy schedule. You got to go to the zoo. You got to, keep winning that silver medal when it comes to Dad of the Year. We appreciate your time. One love to everyone listening. Hit the like button, subscribe to the show. It really does help us out a lot. Join the Discord, link in the bio. Once again, one love to the Don't Doze Art Lab for looking after their neighbors, man. Straight up. How are you going to look after the world if you're not looking after your neighbors? One love to the West Coast bias. And have fun tonight, guys and gals. If y'all listen to this, have fun tonight. Enjoy the moment. One love.
There we go. Shout out to the everydayers, occasional listeners, first-time listeners, new subscribers, and those of you who join us on the live show on YouTube. We don't care when you're listening. We love each and every one of you. You make Locked On Canucks what it is. Again, it's your Canucks every damn day. When I'm slacking off on vacation, Kyle's got you covered. But man, oh man, this is the time to be tuning into a Canucks podcast, man. Straight up. Again, hopefully it's a long run ahead of us. Man, I hope I come back from this road trip. I won't be back until round 3, buddy. So I hope when I come back that we'll watch some games in the
You're
flesh.
Out of here, eh? You're gone, man. Where you going next? Connecticut, Albuquerque, or where are you going next?
It gets a little boring because now we're in the friends and family part, but I'm in Calgary for a few days, heading to Wainwright, Alberta to see friends up there, which I don't know what the hell I'm going to do in Wainwright, Alberta. Then I'm in Edmonton. I'm actually in Edmonton for a night, not during a game, not on a game night though. And then I'm in Jasper for a few nights, and I come home.
There you go, man. We'll make it work, man. One love to Locked On Canucks and the audience and the people. And again, have fun tonight, people. This is what life's all about. Peace.
Your Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network.